It's time for the Narshe review, so let's get it underway. I'm flying by the seat of my pants on this one. Usually I sit here and I really think about it, and I actually give them ratings before I even start, but I haven't had that much time this weekend. Work's been pretty busy, so I'm just going to go ahead and rate them one by one as I see them and as I call them. So, uh, as you may know from watching past videos, here's a reminder of how I rate them. A 1 is pretty much totally useless, and 10 being absolutely essential to our team. Let's go ahead and start with our main character, Little Billy. Little Billy, my dude, my buddy. Okay, so, the thing about Little Billy is he's probably going to be really, really good eventually, because his magic power is 43, vanilla. Of course, when I do these reviews, they're not equipped at all, so we can just see them, you know, just their base stats, their base everything in a vacuum here. Billy is pretty freaking, like, not great right now. I mean, he's got katanas. We did just find, what is it, the aura that can proc Tritok, which we haven't equipped him with yet. We're going to be equipping him for the fight with Kefka, but we haven't yet. And so, I mean, with lore, that's pretty great. That's if you've seen any of the past Beyond Chaos runs I've done, lore is just always good. Um, but as of right now, he only has Stone and Exploder. We have not found any extra skills from our other characters that are throwing out some skills that he can learn, and we haven't seen any enemies throwing them out yet either. So at the moment, lore's not great. Again, he's still studying. This is him going on a field trip to learn more lores, basically. But right now, he only knows how to throw stones and basically explode. So nothing really great there. I haven't found any relics or equipment that changes any of these. Of course, W Condemn is pretty much useless. It could be useful in very niche situations, but I don't see us making use of it really that much. He has an item command and no magic command. Typically, having lore and not magic is just fine, but having both is just ridiculous. But Billy, as it stands right now, pretty great on the magic side, not too good yet. We're about to lose him. I have to put him at, right now, probably about a 3, just because there's no there's a lot of potential there, but there's no, he hasn't really proved himself yet. He's still a little kid, dude. Give him a break. So, he's a 3, a solid 3. So, moving on. As you know, I do the Narshe review in order of appearance. So, Rubicant, who was in Lock's spot. Rubicant's pretty awesome. Number one, that first skill, Atto Wild, right, is Atomic Ray and Wild Bear. So, Atomic Ray, pretty freaking great, you know, fire attack, right? Hits everything, good AoE, very good early game. Eventually, it's going to go a little bit south when stuff starts resisting fire. However, it's still going to be worth it to throw out because of the second skill, Wild Bear. Okay, Wild Bear heals, I'm pretty sure it's about the same as, like, Cure 2, because it's healing us for, like, 400 whenever it goes off, and it heals all status effects. So, Wild Bear, pretty broken as far as a healing spell, and it's for free. So Rubicant is covering damage and healing. He's pretty dang good. And he's one of the 4 fiends, man, and arguably the nicest of the 4 fiends. And then Tech Cure, I totally forgot about this skill, and that tells you just how much it sucks. So Tech Cure, I believe, was it Tech Laser and just Cure, or was it Tech Barrier Cure? I forget, but either way, both skills not very helpful. Because it's just Cure, it's baseline Cure, never going to be as good as Wild Bear ever, and it's single target. So, and really, in order to target us with it, we're going to have to Tech Missile us first, or Tech Barrier us first, both of which are bad. So, Rubicant, just with Auto Wild, is amazing. His magic power is only 30, but that really doesn't matter. Atomic Ray is a pretty powerful attack, and Wild Bear is just good in general. So you don't really need a high magic power stat to make use of it. As far as stuff he can equip, you know, pretty good stuff to protect him, not much for physical attacking, but he's not really doing that, so totally just fine. So right now, Rubicon's pretty high on the list for being close to our best character here that we've rolled. I'm gonna have to give him like at least a 7, right? I'm kind of trying to be not so, oh my gosh, this character is amazing. Rubicon's a 7. He doesn't have a magic command, which is sad. But without a wild, really don't see him needing one. At least not right now. So I'm giving him a 7 for now. I think that's fair. So, alright. Moving on from there, we have Ness. Okay, so number 1, he's Ness. Number 2, his frickin' profile picture is the thing that nightmares are made of. I don't know why they gave him such evil eyebrows and scary eyes, but yeah, just look at that, right? But either way, he is Ness. He is awesome. I love Earthbound. It's one of my favorite games. And as far as what he's got going on, so our white, I never really find use for the skill. I've rolled it a couple of times, and white magic is really good when you can pick what white magic you're doing. When you can't, not so much, when it's just random. So that pretty much is never used. So you don't want to depend on that. But this Reflect Flare skill, pretty cool. I mean, if you target Ness with it, it reflects him, and then the flare bounces off of the reflect right afterwards, right? So it would be way worse if it was like flare reflect, obviously, but reflecting yourself and then flaring works. And then you can do it again, and the reflect will reflect off of you and make your opponent reflected, but it doesn't matter because the flare is still aimed at your reflect, and it's reflecting onto them through their reflect. I hope that made sense. But yeah, and it's pretty thematic for him because it just makes me think of like Psy Shield and Psy Fire, or Psy Shield and Psy Rockin', from Earthbound, He's like shield and then bounces fire off. So that's pretty cool. No magic command, again. We're pretty short on the magic commands with these characters, but as far as Ness goes, I mean, he's got like the strongest single target magic spell in the game, black magic spell in the game attached to a skill. So that's pretty good. Ness is pretty dang good. I'm going to probably put him at like a 6. I think he's worse than Rubicon, despite having Flare, just because there's not really any other use for him. He's not healing everyone, and Reflect could get bad later, especially if he's reflecting off himself the Reflect, and then we're trying to hit that enemy with a different magic attack other than Ness's Reflected Flare. I guess we could start aiming it at Ness, but if we want to multi-target with a spell, it's going to make battle a little bit clunky. But for now, he's pretty good. I think I put him at a 6. Alright, now, on to Ness's twin brother, who we've determined is aging backwards. He looks like Gestall, but he's Ness's twin brother, so we named him Nestall, which has been cracking me up every time I see it. So, Nestall has Absolute Zero and Empower. So, Absolute Zero, obviously really good AoE skill, just like Atomic Ray. I know that I've made this comparison in previous video, talking about it a couple of times, but it's kind of as if with Rubicon and Nestall that they took, like, Maria from my collateral damage seed and put her in here as 2 separate characters because she was just too busted. Maria was one of the best characters that I've ever had in a Beyond Chaos run, and she had Absolute Atomic as a skill, so it was both back-to-back. Now they just split them up between 2 characters, and instead of being 1 busted character, they're 2 pretty okay characters, right? So, Nestall, again, Absolute Zero Empower. Absolute Zero is really good. However, with Empower, it's only really going to be doing damage after Absolute Zero if Nestall is low on HP. And if he's not low on HP and we happen to Absolute Zero and we don't know that our enemy is undead, which happened with Bannon, sadly, and game over me, we will drain Nestall's HP and give it to the enemy, which is bad. It's an instant death. However, he does have a magic stat. No magic just yet, but he does have a magic command, I should say. I don't know, I say stat and when I mean command, and command when I mean stat and stuff all the time, but regardless. Magic power stat at 36, and a magic command. So, pretty dang good. As far as stuff he can equip, Uh, you know, rods. I don't understand why he's not learning Pearl. I guess it's because we haven't fought enemies that are giving us magic points yet, but I've never really had that happen before in the beginning of a seed. So that's a little weird. But he's also got the Punisher, which is great. The Greatest, which I don't remember what it's doing, but I think it was doing something detrimental. That is why he doesn't equip it. Yeah, auto slow, that's why. So, as far as Nestal goes, I think I would put him also at a 7, even though Absolute Empower is not as strong as Atomic Wild Bear. It is the fact that he has a magic command, and Rubicon doesn't. He's got one dead command sitting in his list. So, where Rubicon can heal people, Nestal can do pretty much all of it with magic once he gets it. So right now I put him at a 7 tied with Rubicon. So, that's Nestal. And now we have Setzer. So, historically when I play these seeds, I don't know if you've noticed, you probably have, but any character that ends up with, like, Setzer's sprite or anything close to Setzer's sprite ends up being pretty bad, like the Sephiroths I've had and the Setzers I've had. However, this time he actually isn't too terrible. Number 1, X magic skill, pretty dang good. No magic to use with it yet that I'm aware of. Yeah, no magic. And that first skill, Disretto, which is Disaster and Retort. Now, the cool thing about that is, Disaster's pretty good. It's multiple status effects stacked on top of all of your enemies, which is great. But what's really good is the Retort, because Retort is a pretty strong attack, and the drawback on it is that you have to be attacked. Well, with this combo skill, he just does the Retort Slice without having to be attacked, which is pretty cool. Instead of just setting up the retort after the disaster, he just jumps in and retorts. So that's pretty nice. And, you know, having an X magic command is pretty good too. The only drawback to that is that he can't use it in the Fanatic's Tower, but, you know, we're pretty far from there right now. So Setzer, pretty good as far as equipment. You know, Tridents, that's right, the Trident is what he is equipping currently. Even though these other things are more powerful, obviously the Greatest makes you auto-slow, Mithril Pike is more power, but the Trident is allowing him to get some AoE in because it procs Wind Slash, which is pretty great. And he keeps hitting it pretty consistently, so usually I'm not too excited about things like that with elemental weapons because they become useless sometimes, but it's been working out pretty good for him. And if that ends up useless, then he can do Disaster Retort anyway. So, there you have it, Setzer. Pretty good. I'd put him at a 5. Put him at a 5 right now. He's not too bad. Because of the X magic stat, yeah. I think I'd keep him at a 5 until I can see what he can do. Alright, and Arvis making an encore appearance, his first encore appearance. He's not Big Garden this time. He is... Right, he is doing Confuser Gale Cut, which is not incredible. Confuser's okay. Obviously, it muddles the entire enemy team. And Gale Cut is just a worse Wind Slash. Not incredibly good, to be honest with you. It's okay, but it's not as good as the second skill, which is Gigavolt Eviltude, right? So, Gigavolt, great AoE attack. Obviously, it has the drawback of being elemental, but it's pretty strong, and whatever it does hurt, it's going to hurt real bad. And Eviltude is just Eviltude. It's not incredible, but it gives status effects, so whatever. Gigavolt is really where it's at, and the fact that he has a magic stat and some magic already, Poison, Drain, and Float, is pretty good, but where it really goes off the chain is the fact that, now, I use a merit award for other characters to make them be able to equip it, but Arvis can equip swords, just innately, and we have an Illumina. So really where it comes down to is Arvis can Gigavolt things if there's a lot of them, or Illumina one thing and just kill it, pretty much. So that's what really makes him super good and pushes him over the edge. Excuse me. So yeah, if we hadn't gotten the Illumina, I'd probably give him a lower rank, but because we have the Illumina, I'm putting Arvis probably up there at a 7 as well, with Nestal and with Rubicon, right? Just because of the AoE, the magic command with magic in it, and the fact that he can equip the Illumina. I think he's pretty dang good. So, Arvis, welcome back. You're still pretty good, and we're glad to see you, buddy. Alright, and our final character, and the one I'm probably most excited about this run, is Agrias is back. She is my favorite Final Fantasy Tactics character, and she is not as good as her previous iteration. Of course, she's making an encore appearance, but not quite as good as her other appearance, but she is pretty good still. So, she did not roll a magic command, but she does have R-Bolt and R-Bio. Now, R-Bolt is interesting. It can roll a number of things: Diffuser, Bolt 3, Gigavolt, Megavolt, Bolt Edge, things like that. Just any kind of electric attack it can roll, which is pretty cool. Definitely more useful than R-Bio. R-Bio is a lot of single target stuff, and just bio attacks just aren't really good in general. Like, if you roll Virate, you're pretty upset, you know? So, R-Bolt is great, though. Now, I'm going to go ahead and rate her without this, but Arvis, actually, because he's got Gigavolt Eviltude, he's not really attacking with the Illumina that much, so, and Agrias kind of needs all the help she can get, because R-Bolt, while it's good, is not incredible. So I've been giving her the Merit Award that we found and giving her the Illumina, right? Just because I'm a big fat fanboy and I love Agrias, and why would you not give Agrias a holy sword, you know? It's just, it fits too perfectly. But either way, without that, I would rate her, she's actually kind of low. I think I'd put her at like a 5 or a 6. R-Bolt, again, random skills just kind of bring you down. And as far as what she can equip, it's pretty much the same as Nestal, you know, not that great. Pearl Rod, learning her Pearl doesn't even help because she doesn't have a magic command. She'd have to depend on proccing it. And if she's going to be trying to proc Pearl for damage, she may as well use the Illumina. So that's what I've been doing. So, yeah, I'd probably put her at about a 6. I don't think she's incredible, but I love Agrias, so she probably really deserves to be like a 4 or 5, but I'll put her at a 6, just because I love her. Alright, so, that being said, let's talk about the seed a little bit. So far, again, we've done the Mass Effect flag with the random boost flag, which means we are getting really late game stuff kind of early, but it can have detrimental effects, as we've already seen with a couple of things. Obviously, the auto slow on Greatest is bad, but there's a couple other things too. There's an auto stop on my bandanas, because there's always auto stop on my bandanas. But regardless of that, the seed's been going pretty good. There is a flag that I turned on for this one that I completely forgot that I turned on until I fought Ultros. It is the Random Bosses flag. So what Random Bosses does is it takes the skill, or the boss-specific skills of each boss, and it mixes them between each other in similar tiers. So, Ultros' Tentacle attack was replaced by the Zone Eater's Engulf attack, right? So, that was a little bit insane to see. And now it doesn't just mix boss moves, it just mixes moves from the same tier. So you could have an enemy that uses blitzes on you, or uses sword techs, things like that, tools even. Everything is mixed in to those tiers, so there are some interesting things that could happen. As of right now, again, the only thing we've really seen is the Engulf. Tunnel Armor didn't really get to do much. You know, the other bosses, Rizapos, I don't think did anything crazy, neither did the Ghost Train. We kind of beat them too quick. But, yeah, that's pretty much it so far that we've seen. Maybe Kefka will give us something goofy, but we'll have to find out. But as of right now, Billy's field trip is only just begun, and it's about to get really way crazier for him because yeah, he's gonna wander away from the group for a while, and his chaperones are gonna have to find him, you know. But either way, that's the end of the Narshe review, and I will see you guys for the next episode. Peace.